Paramilgo Namu Gungang Banya Paramilgo Namu Gungang Banya Paramilgo Gagin Gamu Jim Jimmy Bamba Jumangam Nanju Agam Mungan the one I origin Shiri game of Janjin Marada Marana Marada Marana Marada Gungang Banya Paramilgo Homage to the diamond Gungang Banya Paramil Sutra Diamond Gungang Banya Paramilgo Gungang Banya Paramilgo Gungang Banya Paramilgo. The occasion of the Dharma assembly. Thus I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying at the Jaravana Anathapindika's park in the kingdom of Savita, together with a great assembly of 1,250 monks. When it was time for the meal, the world-honored one put on his robe, took his alms bowl, and entered the city of Srava city to collect alms. Going from house to house, after collecting alms, he returned to his dwelling, completed his meal, put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. Then Sporty recast the teaching. At that time, the elder Sporty, who was among the assembly, rose from his seat, bared his right shoulder, knelt on his right knee, joined his palms in reverence, and addressed the Buddha. Rare and wondrous it is, Tathagata, that you care for all Bodhisattvas and enter them into your instruction. World-honored one, how should a virtuous man or woman who has given rise to the mind of Anatta Samyak abide in the awakened mind, and how should they subdue their afflicted mind? The Buddha said, well said, Subodhi, as you have said, the Tathagata cares for all Bodhisattva and entrusts them with instruction. Now listen carefully, for I shall explain this to you. A virtuous man or woman who has given rise to the mind of Anatta Samyasambodhi should abide in their awakened mind thus, and subdue their afflicted mind thus. Yes, world-honored one, I eagerly wish to hear it. The true principle of Mahayana. The Buddha said to Svorti, or Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should subdue their afflicted minds in this way. All kinds of sentient beings, whether born from eggs, worms, moisture, or transformation, whether from form or without form, whether with thought, without thought, or neither with nor thought, I shall lead them all to nirvana of liberation and deliver them. Yet even though countless sentient beings are thus delivered the truth, not a single sentient being is delivered. Why is this, Svorti? Because if a bodhisattva holds notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity, they are not but a bodhisattva. The wondrous practice without abiding. Therefore, furthermore, Svorti, a bodhisattva should practice giving without abiding by any phenomenon. They should provide without abiding by form and not accept sound, smell, taste, touch, or any phenomenon while giving. Svorti, a bodhisattva should give in this way without abiding by appearances. Why? Because if a bodhisattva gives without abiding in appearances, their merit is so vast that it cannot be measured by thoughts. Svorti, what do you think? Can the emptiness of the eastern direction be fully measured by thoughts? No, it cannot. World-honored one. Svorti, can the emptiness of the southern, western, northern, intermediate direction, or the emptiness above, below, be fully measured by thoughts? No, it cannot. World-honored one. Svorti, the merit of the bodhisattva who gives without abiding in appearances is likewise immeasurable by thoughts. Svorti, a bodhisattva should abide in thought. Seeing the truth, Seeing the truth of reality. Subordinate, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be seen through his physical form? No, word on old one, the Tathagata cannot be seen through his physical form. Why? Because the form that the Tathagata speaks of is not truly form. The Buddha said to Subordinate, all phenomena are illusory. If you see all phenomena as an untrue form, then you will see Tathagata. True faith in the final age is rare. Supportive said to the Buddha, World on Order One, will there be a sentient being who, upon hearing such words or verses, can give right to true faith? The Buddha said to Sporty, do not say such a things. Even 2,500 years after the Tathagata has passed, there will be those who uphold the precepts and cultivate merits, capable of giving rise to faith in those words and verses and regarding them as genuine. Notice, such a person has not only formally planted goodness on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Buddhas, but has already established sacred roots of goodness on the countless millions of Buddhas. Hearing these verses will give rise to pure faith in a single moment of thoughts. Sporty, the Tathagata fully knows and sees that all such sentient beings will attain immeasurable merits in this way. Why? Because these sentient beings no longer hold the notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity, nor do they hold notion of true or false teachings. Why? If these sentient beings grasp at any appearances in their minds, they will cling to the notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity. If they grasp the idea of truth, they will still be caught in the notion of self, others, sentient. And if they grasp the idea of false teachings, they will likewise be caught in those same notions. Therefore, you should neither cling to the actual teaching nor false teaching. This is why I have always told you monks, know that the Dharma I teach is like a wrap. Even the truth must be let go of. How much more so false teachings? Nothing attained, nothing spoken. Sporty, what do you think? Has the Tathagata attained Anatta Samburi? Has the Tathagata spoken any Dharma? Sporty said, as I understand the meaning of what the Buddha has said, there is no fixed truth called Anattara Samburi, nor has the Tathagata spoken any fixed Dharma. Why? The truth spoken by the Tathagata cannot be grasped or expressed. It is neither true nor non-true. Why? Because all enlightened sages and saints differ from others due to their transcendence of the reality world through the unconditioned absolute Dharma. All rises from this truth. Sporty, what do you think? If a person filled the trenchant localism with the seven treasures and gave them widely in charity, how great would their merit be? Sporty said, very great. Word on old one. Why? Because this birth is not the inherent nature of merit. The Tathagata says it is great merit. The Buddha said, if another person upheld even just 4 lines from this sutra and explained them to others, their merit would far surpass the former. Why, Sporty? Because the Anatta Samburi of all Buddhas arise from this sutra. Sporty, called the Buddha's Dharma, is not truly the Buddha's Dharma. The absolute Dharma is not a being. Sporty, what do you think? Would a stream anterior think I have attained the fruit of stream entry? Subordinate said, no, word on the one. Why? Because the stream anterior is merely a name for entering the follow of the holy ones. Yet in reality, nothing is entered. Neither form, sounds, smell, taste, touch, nor any phenomena. It is only called stream anterior. Subordinate, what do you think? Would a once returner think I have attained the fruit of once returning? Subordinate said, no, well done, not one. Why? Because once returner is merely a name for one who returns once. Yet in reality, there is no such of going or returning. It is only called once returner. Subordinate, what do you think? Would a non-returner think I have attained the fruit of non-returning? Subordinate said, no, well done, not one. Why? Because non-returner is merely a name for one who does not return. Yet in reality, there is no thought of not returning. It is only called non-returner. Subordinate, what do you think? Would an arhat think I have attained the path of an arhat? Subordinate said, no, well done, not one. Why? Because if an arhat thought I have attained the path of an arhat, they would be clinging to the notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity. Well done, not one. You have said, I am foremost among those who have attained the Samahi, free from the contention, the first among those who have abandoned desire as an arhat. Yet, more than old one, I do not think I am an arhat who has abandoned desire. More than old one, if I thought I have attained the path of an arhat, you would not have said that Subordinate delights in the practice of solitude, because Subordinate truly has no thought of practicing solitude. You have said that Subordinate delights in the practice of solitude, adorning a pure land. The Buddha said to Subordinate, Subordinate, what do you think? Did the Tathagata attain any truth while in the presence of Dimpankara Buddha in the past? World Honored One, the Tathagata did not attain any truth while in the presence of Dimpankara Buddha. Subordinate, what do you think? Does a Bodhisattva adorn a Buddha land? World Honored One, why? Because the adornment of a Buddha land by a Bodhisattva is not truly adornment, it is merely called adornment. Therefore, Subordinate, all Bodhisattva, Mahasattva should give rise to the pure mind in this way. They should not give rise to the mind abiding in form, nor should they give rise to the mind abiding in sound, smell, touch, or any phenomena. Subordinate, for example, if a person's body were as large as mountains tomorrow, what do you think? Would that body be considered significant? Subordinate said, very large. Word on one. Why? Because the Buddha has said that what is not a body is called a large body. Immeasurable great merit. Subordinate, if there were as many Ganges River as grains of sand in Ganges, what do you think? Would the sands in all those Ganges River be numerous? Subordinate said, very numerous. World honored one. When even the number of Ganges River alone would be countless, how much more as the sands within them? The Buddha said, Subordinate, I now tell you truly, if a virtuous man or woman fills as many Trichinlokusam as there are sands in those Ganges rivers with the 7 treasures and gave them widely in charity, how great would their merit be? Subordinate said, exceedingly great. World honored one, the Buddha said to Subordinate, if a virtuous man or woman upheld even just 4 lines from the sutra and then explain them to others, their merit would be immeasurably greater than former. Revering the true teaching. Furthermore, Subordinate, even if just 4 lines from this sutra I explained, know this, that place will be one where all beings of the world, gods, humans, and asura should make offering as they would to a Buddha's stupa or temple. Now, much more so if a person can fully uphold, read, and recite this sutra. Subordinate, know this. Such a person has attained the highest, most supreme, and rare truth. Wherever this sutra is present, it is as if the Buddha is there, or as if a revered disciple of the Buddha is there, upholding a according to Dharma. At that time, Swarti said to Buddha, "Well done, old one, what would this sutra be called, and how should we uphold it?" The Buddha said to Swarti, "This sutra is called the Diamond Gamgangbanyabhara Sutra, and you should uphold it as such." Why? Because the Gangangbanyabharamiya, perfection of wisdom spoken by the Tathagata, is not truly Gangangbanyabharam. It is merely called Gangangbanyabharami. Subordinate, what do you think? Has the Tathagata spoken any truth? Subordinate said to Buddha, "World honored one, the Tathagata has not spoken anything." Subordinate, what do you think? Are the countless particles of the dust in the Trinchilocosm numbers? Subordinate said, "Very numbers." World honored one, the Buddha said. Subordinate, the Tathagata says that all these dust particles are not truly dust. They are merely called dust. The Tathagata says that a word is not truly a word, but merely called a word. Subordinate, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be seen through the 32 marks of great being? World honored one, the Tathagata cannot be seen through the 32 marks of great being. Why? Because the 32 marks of the great being spoken by the Tathagata are not truly marks. They are merely called marks. The Buddha says, "Swarti, if a virtuous man or woman gave away as many lives as there are sands in the Ganges River in charity, and another person upheld even just 4 lines from this sutra and explained them to others, the latter's merit would be far greater than the former. Tranquil cessation free from all form." At that time, Subodhi, upon hearing the words of this sutra, deeply realized its meaning, shed tears, and wept so thoroughly. He then spoke to the Buddha. "Truly extraordinary, world honored one, that the Buddha expounds such a profoundly deep sutra. I, in all my past lives, upon this moment, with the eyes of the wisdom I have cultivated, have never heard such a sutra before. World honored one, if a person hears this sutra and gives rise to the pure faith, then the realm of the true reality will manifest for them. It should be known that such a person has surely attained the most extraordinary merit. World honored one, this realm of the true reality is not a phenomenon or a concept, and therefore the Tathagata has named it the realm of true reality. Yet, world honored one, for me to hear this sutra, believe it, understand it, and uphold it is not difficult. However, if in the future, 2,500 years from now, there are sentient beings who hear this sutra, believe it, understand it, and uphold it, those people will genuinely be the most extraordinary. Why is this so? Because the notion of self is not an absolute concept, nor are the notion of others. Sentient beings are longevities, absolute concept. Why? Because what is called a Buddha is priceless, precisely that which has let go of all concepts entirely. The Buddha said to Subodhi, "So it is, so it is. If there is again a person who hears this sutra and is neither shocked, frightened, nor fearful, they know this. Such a person is truly extraordinary." Why is this so, Subodhi? The supreme perfection, paramita that the Tathagata speaks of is not the supreme perfection. It's a merely called supreme perfection. Sporty, the perfection of a patient that the Tathagata speaks of is not the perfection of patience. It is merely called perfection of patience. Why is this so? Sporty, when in the past King Kali dismembered my body, at that time I had no notion of self, no notion of others, no notion of sentient beings, and no notion of longevity. When my limbs were severed joint by joint, if I had had notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity, I would surely have given rise to the anger and resentment. Sporty, recall also that in the past, for 500 lifetimes, I practiced as a sage of patience. Even then, I had no notion of self, no notion of others, sentient beings, and no notion of longevity. Therefore, Subodhi, a bodhisattva should let go of all concepts and awaken the mind of unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment, Anatta Samyak Samburi. They should not give rise to a mind attached to forms, nor should they give rise to a mind connected to sound, smell, taste, touches, or any phenomena. They should give rise to a mind that abides nowhere. Even if there is abiding in the mind, it is not genuinely abiding. Thus, the Tathagata says that the bodhisattva should give charity without being attached to forms. Sporty, a bodhisattva should provide in this way to benefit all sentient beings. Yet the Tathagata says that all concepts are not concepts, and all sentient beings are not sentient beings. Sporty, the Tathagata speaks the truth, one who speaks reality, one who speaks what is, one who does not speak falsehood, and one who does not say otherwise. Sporty, the truth that the Tathagata has attained this Dharma is neither real or unreal. Subodhi, if a bodhisattva gives charity while their mind abides by some phenomenon, it is like a person in dark who cannot see anything. But if a bodhisattva gives charity without their minds abiding in any phenomenon, it is like a person with clear eyes seeing all sorts of things distinctly in the bright sunlight. Supporting in the future, if there is a virtuous man or woman who can uphold, read, and recite this sutra, the Tathagata, with the wisdom of Buddha, will fully know and fully see the person. They will all attain immeasurable, boundless merit. The merit of upholding the sutra. Sporty, suppose a virtuous man or woman in the morning gives away as many bodies as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River that afternoon. Again, gives away as many bodies as there are grains of sand in Ganges River, and in the evening once more gives away as many bodies as there are grains of sand in Ganges River, performing such acts of giving with their bodies for countless hundreds or of thousands of millions of eons. If, however, there is another person who hears the sutra and gives rise to faith without resistance, the merit of the person will surpass the former. How much more if they copy this sutra, uphold it, read it, recite it, and explain to the others? Supported. To summarize, this sutra possesses inconceivable, immeasurable, and boundless merit. The Tathagata has expounded this sutra for those who have set forth on the great vehicle, Mahayana, and for those who have set forth on the supreme vehicle. If there is a person who can uphold this sutra, read it, recite it, and widely explain it to others, the Tathagata fully knows and fully sees that person. Such a person will attain merit that is immeasurable, inexpressible, limitless, and beyond comprehension. These people are the ones who bear the Tathagata's unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Anatta Samyak. Why is this so sporty? Those who delight in the teaching of lesser Viveka cling to the notion of self, the notion of others, the notion of sentient beings, and the notion of longevity. Thus, they cannot hear, understand, read, recite, or explain this sutra to others. Sporty. Wherever this sutra is present, is where all beings of the world, gods, humans, and asuras should make offerings. No, that place is equivalent to a Sutupa, worth of reverence. All should pay homage, in circumambulate it, and scatter various flowers and instant there, purifying and clarifying the storehouse of karma. Therefore, sporty, if a virtuous man or woman uphold the sutra, read it, and recite it, and as a result is despised or insulted by others, know that this person, due to the karmic offense of the past lives, has distincted, desti- destined, was destined to fall into an evil realm. However, by being despised by others in this present life, those past karmic offenses are extinguished, and they will surely attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Anatta Samyak. Moreover, suppose there is yet another person who in the future, during the final age, can uphold this sutra, read it, and recite it. In that case, the merits they gain will far exceed the merits I accrued by offering to our Buddhas, surpassing it not by a hundredth part, but by a million, billions, or any mathematical comparison. Sporty, if I were to fully describe the merits gained by a virtuous man or woman who in the final age to come uphold and recite this sutra, some people, upon hearing it, might become confused, doubtful, and unable to believe it. Sporty, you should know this. The meaning of the sutra is beyond concept, and its words are immeasurably vast. Ultimately, there is no self. At that time, Sporty addressed the Buddha, world honored one, how should a virtuous man or woman who has given rise to the mind of unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment abide in that awakened mind, and how should they subdue their mind of affliction? The Buddha said to Sporty, if a virtuous man or woman has given rise to the minds of they should give rise to the thoughts, I will liberate all sentient beings, yet have liberated all sentient beings. They should understand that in reality, no sentient beings has been liberated. Why is this so, Sporty? Because if a bodhisattva holds to the notion of a self, the notion of others, the notion of sentient beings, or the notion of longevity, they are not a bodhisattva. Sporty. The reason is that this awakening of the Anatta Samyak arises purely in no fixed truth. Sporty, what do you think? Was there some truth that the Tathagata attained in the presence of the Dimpakara Buddha by which he realized Anatta Samyak? No, world-honored one, as I understand the meaning of what the Buddha had taught, when you were in the presence of Dimpakara Buddha, there were there was no specific truth by which you attained Anatta Sambodhi. The Buddha said, so it is, Subodhi, indeed it is, in the realm where there is no fixed truth, that the Tathagata attained Anatta Sambodhi, Subodhi. If there had been some fixed truth by which the Tathagata attained Anatta Sambodhi, then Dimpakara Buddha would not have bestowed upon me the prediction, saying, in a future age you will surely become a Buddha named Sakyamuni. It is purely because I attend the Anatta Sambodhi in the realm where there is no fixed truth that Dimpakara Buddha bestowed this prediction upon me, saying, in a future age you will surely be a you, you will surely become a Buddha, and your name will be Sakyamuni. Why is this so? Because Tathagata means one in accord with the suchness, tathata, of all phenomena. Therefore, Sporty, even if someone says that the Tathagata attained the Anatta Sambodhi, in reality the Tathagata attained it in the realm where there is no fixed truth. Supporting the Anatta Sambodhi that the Tathagata has attained, there is neither reality nor unreality. Thus the Tathagata says that all phenomena are the Buddha's Dharma. Subordhi, called all phenomena, is not truly all phenomena. It is merely called named all phenomena. Subordhi, it is like a person's body being exceedingly large. Subordhi said, World Honored One, when the Tathagata speaks of a person's body being exceedingly large, it is not truly a large body. It is merely called a large body. The Buddha said, so it is, Subordhi. The Bodhisattva is the same. If someone says, I have liberated countless sentient beings, they cannot be called the Bodhisattva. Why is this so, Sporty? Because one who does not cling to any fixed truth in their mind is called a Bodhisattva. Therefore, the Tathagata says that in all phenomena there is no self, no others, no sentient beings, and no longevity. Sporty, if a Bodhisattva says, I will adorn a Buddha land, they cannot be called a Bodhisattva. Why? Because the adornment of the Buddha land, as spoken by the Tathagata, is not truly adornment. It is merely called adornment. Subordhi, if a Bodhisattva thoroughly penetrates the return of no self and no self, the Tathagata will call that person a true Bodhisattva, a great being, Mahasattva. See all as one. Subodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata possess the physical eye? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata possesses the physical eye. Subodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata possess the divine eye? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata possesses the divine eye. Subodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata possess the wisdom eye? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata possesses the wisdom eye. Subodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata possess the Dharma's eye? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata possess the Dharma's eye. Subodhi, what do you think? Does the Tathagata possess the Buddha's eye? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata possess the Buddha's eye. Subodhi, what do you think? Has the Tathagata spoken of the countless grains of sand in the Ganges River? Yes, World Honored One, the Tathagata has spoken of the sands of the Ganges. Subodhi, what do you think? If there were as many Buddha world as grains of sand in Ganges River, would you say those are numbers? Exceedingly numbers, World Honored One. The Buddha said to Subodhi, the Tathagata fully knows the minds of all sentient beings in those numbers words. Why is this so? Because all minds that the Tathagata speaks of are not truly minds, they are merely called minds. The reason, Subodhi, is that the mind of the past cannot be grasped. The minds of the present cannot be grasped. The minds of the future cannot be grasped. Universally transform the realm of Dharma. Swarti, do not say this. The Tathagata thinks that there is a Dharma of truth that I have spoken. Why? Because if someone says the Tathagata has spoken a Dharma of truth, this becomes a slander against the Tathagata, for they do not understand the meaning of what I have said. Swarti, to speak of the truth is to speak of the absence of truth. It is merely called speaking of truth. At that time, Swarti, whose name means bright wisdom, addressed the Buddha. World honored one, in the future, will there be any sentient beings who, upon hearing these words of truth, can give rise to the minds of faith? The Buddha said, Swarti, do not speak of sentient beings or not sentient beings. Why is this so, Swarti? What is called sentient beings is spoken of by the Tathagata as not sentient beings. It is merely named sentient beings. The Tathagata of the Dharma body, free from the form body. Swarti, what do you think? If a person were to fill the Trinchilocosm 3,000 great thousand and words, thousands words, with these seven treasures and give them away widely in charity, would the merit gained by this person due to this cause be great? Yes, old world honored one. This person would gain exceedingly great merit due to this cause. The Buddha said to Subhuti, Subhuti, if merit were something truly substantial, the Tathagata would not say that great merit is gained. It is purely because merit is inherently insubstantial that the Tathagata says that great merit is gained. The teaching of beyond words, the Dharma expounded without speech. Supported, do not say this. The Tathagata thinks that there is a Dharma of truth that I have spoken. Why? Because if someone says the Tathagata has spoken a Dharma of truth, this becomes a slander against the Tathagata, for they do not understand the meaning of what I have said. Subhuti, to speak of truth is to speak of absence of truth. It is merely called speaking of truth. At that time, Subhuti, whose name means bright wisdom, addressed the Buddha. World honored one, in the future, will there be any sentient beings who, upon hearing these words of truth, can give rise to the mind of faith? The Buddha said, Subhuti, do not speak of sentient beings or not sentient beings. Why is this so, Subhuti? What is called sentient beings is spoken by the Tathagata is not sentient beings. It is merely named sentient beings. There is nothing to attain in truth. Excuse me. Subhuti addressed the Buddha, world honored one. When the Buddha attained unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment, it is a though nothing was attained. The Buddha says, so it is. Subhuti, what I call Anatta Samyaksambhuri is merely a name. It is in the realm where not the slightest trace of any truth remains, and where I have attained nothing. That is called Anatta Samyaksambhuri. Cultivate goodness with a pure mind. Furthermore, Subhuti, this truth is equal with no high or low, and thus it is called Anattara Samyaksambhari, unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. By cultivating all virtues, Dharma, without the notion of self, others, sentient beings, or longevity, one attained Anattara Samyaksambhari. Subhuti, what is called virtues, Dharma, as spoken by the Tathagata as natural living virtuous dharma. It is merely named virtuous dharma. Merit and wisdom cannot be compared. Supported. Suppose a person were to take heaps of the seven treasures as vast as Mountain Samaru and king of mountain in Anchunchilocosm, 3,000 great thousand more, and give them widely in charity. If, however, another person were to uphold, read, recite, and expound to others, even just a 4 lines, verses from this Gimgangbanya Sutra, the merge of the former would not amount to even a hundredth part of the later, nor the 100,000 millionth part, nor could it be compared even with all possible numerical measures were gathered together. Transform others, yet nothing is done. Subordinate, what do you think? Do not say that the Tathagata I must liberate sentient beings. Subordinate, do not entertain such a thought. Why? Because in reality there are no sentient beings for the Tathagata to liberate. There, if there was sentient beings for the Tathagata to liberate, it would be the Tathagata notion of self, others, sentient beings, and longevity. Subordinate, when the Tathagata speaks of a self, it means there is no such a thing as a self. Only ordinary people think of a self. Subordinate, what is called an ordinary person is spoken of by the Tathagata as not truly an ordinary person. It is merely named ordinary person. The Dharma body is not a being. Subordinate, what do you think? Can the Tathagata be seen through the 32 marks of great being? Subordinate replied, yes, the Tathagata can be seen through the 32 marks of great being. The Buddha said, Subordinate, if the Tathagata couldn't be seen through the 32 marks of a great being, then a real turning sage king would also be Tathagata. Subordinate addressed the Buddha. Would World-honored one, as I understand the meaning of what the Buddha has said, the Tathagata cannot be seen through the 32 marks of a great being. At that time, the world-honored one spoke this verse. If one should If one seeks me through form or searches for me through sounds, they walk a perverse path and will never see the Tathagata. It is not utterly non-existent. Subordinate, if you think that the Tathagata attained Anatta Samyak Sambodhi because he lacks the perfect marks, does not thought. Please do not say that the Tathagata attained Anatta Samyak Sambodhi because he lacks perfect marks. Subordinate, if you think that one who has given rise to the minds of Anatta Samyak Sambodhi assert that all phenomena are cut off and utterly non-existent, do not entertain such a thought. Why? Because the one who has given rise to the mind of Anatta Samyak Sambodhi does not say that all phenomena are cut off and utterly non-existent as the truth, neither receiving nor craving. Supporting, if a bodhisattva were to give away 7 treasures, filling as many words as there are grains of sand in the Ganges River, and if another person realized the truth of no self in all phenomena, enlightenment, the merit of this later bodhisattva would surpass that if the former. Why? that of the farmer. Why? Sporty, because all bodhisattvas do not receive merit. Sporty asked the Buddha, World Honored One, how is it that bodhisattvas do not receive merit? The Buddha replied, Sporty, a Buddha does not cling to the merit they have produced. Therefore, it is said that they do not receive merit. The dignity is profound. Sporty, if someone says that the Tathagata comes, goes, sits, or lies down, that person does not understand the meaning of what I have said. Why? Because the Tathagata neither comes from another way, anywhere, nor goes anywhere. Thus is called the Tathagata. Truth and phenomena are not two. Sporty, if a virtuous man or woman were to pulverize the trenchant locusm into the fine dust, what do you think? What would that fine dust be? Numbers? Exceedingly numbers, more than old one. Why? Because if that fine dust were a real, substantial entity, the Buddha would not have spoken of it as fine dust. What is the reason? The fine dust spoken of by the Buddha is not truly fine dust. It is merely called fine dust. Well done, one. World another one. The trench locusm spoken of by the Tathagata is not truly a word, it is merely called a word. Why? Because if a word were a real, substantial entity, it would be an absolute singular form. Yet the absolute singular form spoken of by the Tathagata is not truly an absolute singular form, it is merely called a singular form. Swarti. An absolute singular form cannot be expressed in words. Only ordinarily sentient beings cling to it. Do not give rise to views. Swarti, if someone says that the Tathagata has spoken of views such as itself, others, sentient beings, or longevity, what do you think, Swarti? Does this person correctly understand the truth I have spoken? No, well done, old one. This person does not understand your spoken truth. Why? Because the views of a self, others, sentient beings, and longevity that the word on one has spoken of are not included. Not indeed. Views of a self, others, sentient beings, or longevity. Subordinate. One who has given rise to the minds of Anatta somebody should know this, believe, and realize all phenomena in this way, without giving rise to the notion of truth. Subordinate. What is called notion of truth is spoken by the Tathagata as not truly a notion of truth. It is merely named a notion of truth. The manifested body is non real. Sporty. If a person were to give away the seven treasures, filling countless Anatta Samyak Samburi, incalculable words, Asamihiya. Words, and if a virtuous man and woman who has given rise to the Bodhisattva mind uphold this sutra, even just a 4-line verse recites it and expounds it to others, their merits would far surpass that of the former. How should one expound it to others? being swayed by thoughts or phenomena, remaining in suchness, unmoving. The reason is this: all conditioned phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dew or lighting. Thus, should they be contemplated. Having fully expounded this sutra, the Buddha concluded the elder Swarty, along with the monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen, and all gods, humans, and asura of the world who heard the Buddha's words, were filled with great joy, believed, received, and practiced it. Namo Gam Banya Paramilyo. Namo Gam Banya Paramilyo. Namo Gam Banya Paramilyo. Gege Mulang Jimmy Mabam Jamangom Nanjo. Agam Suji Wane Yorajin Sirige Babjanjina. Om Marana Marada, Om Marana Marada, Om Marana Marada, Gamanya Varamigam Bokenya Vinyashi Amanya Shibuja, the Vigogi, the Gogodonia, the Vigoshan, the Vigoshamingu, the Sunshiki, Shiban, the Gilongo, Gilong, Joseph, and Jibun, the Pasajoki Buja, Javan, and Gijaman. Suburi Jada Junjun Jaki Penda, Jam Jangon, Bakburani, Sajan Yarazon, and the Lambuja Jabos, Sajan Jalan, Barana, Dara, the Melamburi, Shimona, Juna, Bogishim Buran, and Jalan Jazuburi, Yazon, Yarazon, Jabusa, the Mojo Jabos, and Yazon Jana, Sandan Jalan, Barana, Dara, the Melamburi, Shimona, Sham Bogishim, Yazon, Young Guzuburi Jabutama Saran Yashim Bogishim, so you will judge like Jiring, Nathaniel, Desanya, Susania, Wadang, Yazang, Mudang, Yazang, Musa, appears on Bimusang, Yang, Muya, Bani Meldoji, Ashimeldo, Mudang, Musu, Mugan, Jung, Jim, Mujung, Sandu, Meduja, Guzuburi, Abusan, Yuasang, Sanjung, Sanduya, Sanju, Mojum, Bujaburi, Ababa Mozoju, hang up. Buji Sanya Major Bushi Suburi Busan Yashi Bushi Bushi Asan Hai Goya Busa Bushi Sang Bushi Gibuk Buka Saran Suburi Yunadam Bango Konga Saran Bobulia Sajan Bangsa Yusang Konga Saran Bobulia Sajan Suburi Busan Moji Sang Bushi Bukdang Yapu Yashi Buka Saran Dananya Soyoji Ali Hilgam Suburi Yunagai Shintan Yore Bobulia Sajan Bulgai Sanshin the Kanyore Hai Goya Sojin Banji Bulgu Suburi Bansa Yusang Geshi Amanya Genja Sambiang Janyore Junction Yabun Suburi Bakburan Sajan Pai Jung Sang Dumanya Shi and Saljango Sangshin Bubu Suburi Magashi Sanyare Meru Besa Yuji Gesubukja Chajango Nang Sangshim Chemi Javi Shilang Jishim Buro Elbuli Bulamsa Obuli Jung Sangoni Amorang Chamon Bulso Jung Jalangum Manji Tangu Ilian Sanjang Chinja Suburi Yore Shilchi Shilgan Shi Jung Unang Bogdang Hai Gushi Jung Sang Mubu Sang Sang Jung Sang Sang Suja Sang Mu Bab Sang Yang Mubi Bab Sang Hai Gushi Jung Sang Yashim Shi Sang Jiki Jagan Jung Sang Suja Yak Ji Bab Sang Chik Jagan Jung Sang Suja Yak Hai Go Yak Ji Bab Sang Chik Jagan Jung Sang Suja Shigu Burung Chiba Shigu Babi Shigu Yare Sang Salya Dang Bi Gushi Yasal Pamnya Pamnya Jabab Sang Samam Bit Pamu The Musa Suburi Ayuna Yare Dengan Yudara Samya Samburi Ayore Yusa Pamnya Suburi Anya Hai Busu Sori 명하뇨 나라 삼명삼모니 영무의 정반열애가 살하이고 열애서 서법계 불가지 불가설 비법 비비법이 소위자일 제인사계 비모의 법이 자발리법 질병문 수부리여 유나 양인만 삼천대전세기 질봉이 용보시신도 미다부 수부리여 진나사존하이 구시복덕 비복덕 성시구 열애설 복덕 다약부인 어차경중 수지 내지 사국의 등물다연사기 복순비하이고 수부리일 제제불급자고란영 나라 삼명삼보리 법계정 차경주 수부리 소위불보자 직비불법 해상무상분 수부리여 유나수다원 능자신여 마득수다원 가부 수부리 한불야세존하이고 수다원 명의임누이 무소위 부립사선야미 전법 나원 수부리 유나사다함 능자신여 마득사다한 수부리 한불야세존하이고 사다한 명의 불라이 실무불라시 신여 마득하나한 가부 수부리 연하이고 하나한 명의 불라이 실무불라 싱오명 하나한 수부리여 유나하라한 능자신여 마득하나한 도부 수부리 한불야세존하이고 실무이 법명하라한 세존여하나한 자신여 마득 도주기 장하인 중생수다 세전불선하는 문제 삼매인중 제일시요가란 세존아부작시냐 마시요가란 세존아약작시냐 마대가란 도세전중불 수보리지요 아난나인자이 수보리시면 소행이명 수보리요 아난나인 정엄정도문 불구 수보리요 유나 열애석자연 등불소 법례소 독법불려세전 열애제연동 불소 업법신문소 등수보리여 유나보선장엄 불도부불려 세존아이고 장엄불도 자직비 장엄시명 장엄시고 수보리제 보살마하사는여 시성정정진 부른지 서성진 부른지 성년미셔보선지 응모소주 이성기심 수보리 비연연 신연수미당 유나시심의대 부수보리연 심대 세존아이고 불선비신 시명대신 모의복 수문 수보리여 중소유성 능하가 유나시제양아 사형이다 부수보리연 심대 세존단자양아 상대무수 아원기서 수보리야 검실령고양 영유선남자 선녀인 이칠부만이 소왕아 세수는 전전전세계 이양보시득보다 부수보리 연심다세전불구수보리 역선남자 선녀인 아차경준 내지 수지 사국의 등미나 인성이제 못한 선전부터 준준경경부자 수보리 수설시경 내지 사국의 등 내지 저철재생 아수라기 영공양야 불단며 하왕유인진는 수지도 선수보리 당지신 상체제 상제일리 반야시경전 소제지저 주기여 불력전전제자 야법의시구수 수보리 박보론 사전당함 액청강하 등문화 분지불고 수보리 시경명이 근감만야바라면 이시명장 여당봉제 소의자 수보리 불섬 일적매 만야바라면 시명만야바라면 수보리 어유나 여러 유소수부부 수보리 박보론 사전 열애 무소수 수보리 어유나 삼천대전세계 소유매신 유매다부 수보리 현심대사전 수보리 점매신 열애 선비매신 신명매신 열애 선생 지명세계 수보리 어유나가이 32상관 열애 부수보리 연불가이 32상 등연 열애 아이고 열애서 32상 직십이상 신명 32상 수보리 양유선 남자 선녀인 이양아사 등 신명 부신 약분유인 자차경전 내지 수지하구연 너기법순당이 단절면분이시 수보리 원서시경 심의 이주제로 비법불안이어 세준무사제시 심징견전 아동탄래 소동의 한미징 동문야시 시경 세전약분유인 등문시경 신심장성 기사인단 내지 시인 성지제인 리유공동 세준시인 성지직시비상시고 열애 선명신선 세존아금 등문야시경 지신의 약단내 세우고 백사기지윤성 등문시경 신의 수진시인 지기제인 리유 아이고 자인 모아상 무인성 무중생산 무수자상 소위자 상지시비상인 상주세 수자상 직시비상 아이고 일제자상준 자불불고수보리 야시야시약부유인 등문시경 불경불불불내 당시신 심이유 아이고 수보리 열애설제일 바라밀 직비제일 바라밀 지명제일 바라밀 수보리 인력바라밀 열애설 인력바라밀 지명 인력바라밀 아이고 석계관행왕할 전신제 아이 신모아상 무인산 무중생산 무수자상 아이고 아웅설절지야시 양조아상 인상중생산 수자상 응상진한 수보리 운영가고 백사장인 역선인 어이소생모 어이소생모 아상모인상 무중생산 무소자상 시구수보리 부살능년 자상 바라뇨 따라 삼명산 보리신 부른주성생신 부른주성녀셔보상지 응모소주이생 항상모셔주신 낙신유주주기 비주시구 보살보살 신부릉주상 보시수보리 보살 외액을 제중상 응야시보시 아래산을 제일랑 직시비상 우살을 제중상 지비중상 수보리 아래 시진어제 시로자야 어자 불강어자 보리 아자 수보리 아래 소속법자법무신모 약보살 신주 아빠 위양보신 야인이만 증매소간 약보살 신부주 법 위양보신 야인이 먹을 가면 주간전 요사 수보리 당내시 사형 요선 남자 선녀인 능하 작용수지 독성지기 아래 이불주의 실주신 실견시인 개등성치 무량 무병공덕 지경공덕분 수보리 연여선 남자 선녀인 조일분 이양하사 등신 보시 중일분 하사 등신 보시 우일분 영이양하사 등신 보시 여신무랑 백전마가 만학가비 신보시 약부인 문차경전 신신불력기 봉순비 아왕사사주지 독성미인 해설 수보리 이원지 시경여 불가사이 불가칭년 무병공덕 열애 위발내선 자선 위발 자선 자선 양요 있는 수지 독성 자경왕인 설열애 실지신 실기신 개등성치 불가냉 불가칭 무일변 불가사이 공덕 여신 등줄기 아담 열애 안우따라 삼명선 보리 아이고 수보리 영유 소법자 자가견 인견준 생견 수자견 증어 자경 불능 정수 독성 위인에서 수보리 제자처처 양요 자경일 최상한 전인 아수라 소홍공약단지 전다 주기 십단계 영공약 전랑기 황이 성기 전응정 업장 본부자 수보리 선남자 선녀인 수지 독성 자경 야경 인경전 시인 선세제어 봉다 악도 이금사인 경전구 선세제업 주교 선행당등 안녕 따라 삼명선 보리 수보리 안녕가고 무령아 성지가 모형도 불련듯이 발백사전 만능는 유타제부 질가공년 수사무공과자 예부인 어머세는 수지 독성 자경 소득공덕아 소공령제불 공덕배보 불굴배부 천만학분 내지 선두 비유소 불능금 소보리 자선녀인 어머세 유소지 독성 자경 소득공덕아야 구설제후 그인문 심증공란 호의 불신 수보리 당지시경이 불가사이 고부역 불가사이 구경모아분이 시수보리 백보란 세정 선남자 선녀인 바라뉴 따라 삼명삼보리 심응원하시운항복이 신불곤 전남자 선녀인 바라는 따라 선명선불이 심자성 생야시지만 멸두일제중생 멸두일제중생이 물dun생신물두자이고 수불이 약부산유화 상인상준생선 수자상 제불보사소이자 수불이 신무유법 바라는 따라 선명선불이 심자 수불이 어이오나 열애어연두부 따라 삼명삼불이 부불야 사전여 알부소소리 불어연등 불소무의 법대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 불언여시 여시소불이 실무의 법냐래 대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 수불이 영여법냐래 대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 제연등 불주불야 수기여원의 세상득자 불로석가모니 실무의 법대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 시거연등 불야 수기정신 세상득자 불로석가모니 아이고 여러저 직접법냐의 양녀인난 여러 대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 수불이 실무유법 불대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 수불이 열애소 대관육 따라 삼명삼불이 보리야 시증무실무하시고 열애사는 제법계 제법수보리 성원열 제법자 직비열 제법 제법수보리 비여인 신난대 수보리 한사준 열애사는 인신한대 시기비 대신 시명 대신 수보리 보살영야시 약장시경 아당명 등분행 집선 제법명부사라 이거 수보리 신무의 법명이 보살시고 보살일 제법모하무인 모형산무세사 수보리 약보살 적시연 아당장은 불도시 불명보살 아이고 열애살 장은 불도자 직비장은 시명장은 수보리 약보살 등남모하보자 열애살 명진시 보살을 제고 동간분 수보리하여나 열애유간부여시 사전 열애유간 수보리하여나 열애유전환부여시 사전 열애유전환 수보리하여나 열애유해안부여시 사전 열애유해안 수보리하여나 열애유법안부여시 사전 열애유보란 수보리하여나 열애유시 사전 열애유보란 수보리하여나 야항아중소유사불소시사부여시 사전 열애선시사 수보리하여나 야해랑아중소유사유여시 사등항아시 제항아소유사수불세계여시 영이다 보신다 세전불고 수불이 이서국도 중소유증 사간존신 열애 실제 아이고 열애 설제 신계 비심 시명 의심 소유자 수불이가 거신불 가득 열애 불가득 현재신 불가득 미래신 불가득 복개동합은 수불이 하여나 양녀인만 삼천대 천세계 칠부 이용보신 시인은 이시인년득 복다부야시 사전차인의 시인년득 보신다 수불이 약복당윤신 열애 불설득 복다다 이방당무근 열애 설득 복다다 이사기 상분 수불이 하여나 불가이고 적사 신견부불야 사전 열애 구적사신견 아이고 열애서 구적사신 직비구적사신 시명구적사신 수보리하여나 열애가이고 구적사상견부불야 사전 열애분의 구적사상견 아이고 열애설전한 구적직비구적 시명재산 구적비소소손분 수보리 여무리 열애적신야 마당유소설법망자신야 아이고 야기난 열애유소설법주 기방법불능야 소설고 수보리설법자무법가서 시명설법이시 불안사전바유중생 어미래사문설시법생신신부 불안수보리 비비중생 비비중생 아이고 수보리 중생 중생전 열애설 비중생 시명중생 무목가득분 수보리 백불안사전 불득안역 따라 삼명선보리 위무소승야 불안여시여시 수보리 아안역 따라 삼명선보리 내시부의 서법가득 시명안역 따라 삼명선보리 정신행선보 수보리 시백백능무유고하 시명안역 따라 삼명선보리 이무아무인 무중생 무수자 수일체선법제트 안역 따라 삼명선보리 수보리 소원선법자 열애설 비선부 시명선법 복시법은 수보리 약선 전세계 중소유재 수미산행여시든 지부지 지용부지 야견이자 반야바람일견내지 사국계동 수지 동성미 타인설 아전부터 배법을급일 백천만억분 내지 산세비요소 불능급 화무수화분 수보리 어유나 여등물리 열애적신여 아당도중세 수보리 막자신념 아이고 신무유중생 열애도자 영유중생 열애도자 열애중유 아인중사 도자 수보리 열애술유하자 직비유하 이본부자인이위유하 수보리 본부자 집배본부 시명본부 법신비 상분 수보리 어유나가이 32상관 열애부 수보리연 여시 32상관 열애 불원세 수보리 여기 32상관 열애자 전년선언 지시 열애 수보리 백불원 세전 여하의 불소설이 불응이 32상관 열애 이시사전 이설계한 야기 색견하이 염성구하 시인항 사토불능견 열애 무담무불은 수보리 여여신임 열애 부리고 조상고득안역 따라 삼명선보리 수보리 망자신임 열애 부리고 조상고득안역 따라 삼명선보리 수보리 여약자신념 바란역 따라 삼명선보리 시제석제법 담면 망자신념 아이고 바란역 따라 삼명선보리 시장 어법 불설담면서 불수불담분 수보리 약보살리마 나가세승세계 칠부지용보신영 약부유인 주일제법무하득성화인 차보살승전보살 소득공덕 하이고 수보리 이제보살 불수복덕 수보리 백보살 세분운하보살 불수복덕 수보리 보살 소작복덕 불은던전시고살 불수복덕 위의적성본 수보리 야기는 불설하겐 인간준 수보리 양유인언 열애 양내 약간 약자 약부합 시인불레한 소설이 아이고 열애자 무정나 영무소고고명 열애일라비 성분 수보리 약선 남자 선녀인이 삼천대천 세계세 유미진 아이오나 시미진 진영이 더부 수보리 연심다자전 아이고 역시미진 준신문 신류자 불죽불 선시미진 소위자 불선미진 직배미진 준시명 미진중 사준 열애서 삼천대천 세계 직비세계 시명세계 아이고 약세계 신류자 즉시 일업상 열애설 일업상 즉시 즉비 랍상 시명 랍상 수보리 랍상자 즉시 불가살담 범부신 담자기사 지금 불산분 수보리 야기는 불산하긴 인간중 생긴 수작은 수보리 어요나시네 소소리 부불냐 생신시인 불레요네 수소네 아이고 사전살하긴 인간중 생긴 수작은 즉비 하긴 인간중 생긴 수작은 시명하긴 인간중 생긴 수작 현육다라 삼명삼보리 심자 얼제법응려 시시에 시견 여시신의 불상보상 수보리 서원보상 전열애상 즉비보상 시명보상 응화비신본 수보리 행여인이 몸무량 하승지세계 실부지형 보신 행여선 남자선 열발불산 심재시와 샤견 내지사국의 등수지 수성미인 연석이 공승 비우나 위인 연석 부지와 상녀야 부당하이고 일제유일보 소여러 양여장 장여시간 불선 시경이 장로 수보리 급제 비구비구 비구니 우바세 우바일 재생한 전이나 수라불만 소속의 대왕이 신수공일 근검반야 바람이 근검반야 바람일 지난 나무바가 바대 불아주나 바람이 다여 옴나다 디디다 일시 비나연 비나연 나무바가 바대 불아디디연 불아디디디 이리티 미리티 슈리티 우시리 부예 수바 나무바가 바대 불아주나 바람이 다여 옴나다 디디다 일시 비나연 나무바가 바대 불아디디연 불아디 이리티 미리티 슈리티 르부야 부야 스바 나무바가 바대 불아주나 바람이 다여 옴나다 디디다 일시 비나연 나무바가 바대 불아디디연 불아디 이리티 미리티 슈리티 우시리 부야 스바 건강심지나 모든니 사바 모든니 사바 원의 제공도 복불벌 샤등 여중선 실바불의 행동이 건강계 개공성불도 건강반야 바람일경찬 여샤문선 남자 선녀인 소지소성 차경찬 일권 여정 건강령 30만 편우득 10명 갑비 중성 제일국권 대략 7년 비산현년 유시한 자년 29 40만 지철은 대화문 아리상일의 작가인년 여자다발일상의 편지득 건강령 물말 하불령 건강견찬 여자다발년 세상 무분 왕말 박령 환말 북명기 지경문종 여샤문지 신수봉이 2개 5,149자 69불 51 사전 85열에 37부산 138 수불이 26 선남자 선여인 38 아이고 36 중선 31 어유나 30여시 29 한역 따라 3명 3불이 21 부시 18 복덕일 13 항하 40 이미진 7개 3천대천 3개 7개 32상 8공도 8장암 5바람 1사수자만 사사람 사남 사란 처시 사가는 여하 석계 가려 신체 여하 왕석전려지혜 시양여하 상인상 중생선 수자 상일일 무하겐 인견준 생견 수자견 삼비군이 순해칠 사국의 나무 금강 만야 바람일경 나무 금강반야 바람일경 나무 금강반야 바람일경